the trim, it's me and my baby. We're all going crazy, buck jumping and having fun. Down in the trim.
Are you ready for a throwdown? Woo-hoo! Oh, I'm on. I'm still shuffling papers up here. I am on. We are live, everyone. We are live streaming to the universe. Say hello to the world, everyone. Yell a big hello. Hello. Wish you were here. That was excellent. All right. This is when we do the post GamiCon survey, what we see consistently is that this event that you're here for right now is the most popular 2 hours of the entire 2 days, because it's people just like you, just like me, who have learned the process. We're bringing gamified learning or game-based learning into adult learning programs. They've done it. They have results from it. And then they had the courage to hang their toes out over the edge and put it out there for someone to judge, to evaluate its worthiness by its peers. We talked about that this morning. That's the last thing we want to do, is look foolish in front of our peers. So to have that courage to say, I got something good here, and I think the world needs to see it, that's what we're going to see this afternoon. So I'm going to be introducing for the world. Where am I looking at? These two cameras right here, John? Hey, world. All right. Our first two contestants, Mallory Steele and Shonda Hodge, I have a program called Strategic Communications for Customer Success. Strategic Communication for Customer Success is a game-based upskilling program offering 5 strategies for effective customer interactions in multi-channel tech environments. Okay, management, cut. You're doing that? Mallory told me to get off the stage, Monica. So, all right, here we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, everyone. To give you just a little bit, a short, brief intro of what the training is about. It is a communications training course that we designed to help supplement a instructor-led training course, right? And it's to give engineers who are on the phones with customers how to actually control the conversation, how to show empathy and that type of thing. So Mallory and I have a video that we would like to show you, and that will explain.
It's time.
Thank you.
For a throwdown. Journey to Sovereignfo. Strategic Communication for Customer Success is a game-based interpersonal communication training experience that provides 5 strategies for successfully managing customer interactions in a technical environment. These strategies are: manage expectations, influence perception, exercise empathy, negotiate solutions, and diffuse situations. Meet Shonda Hodge and Mallory Steele, co-collaborators in this gamification project. Shonda is a senior learning and development consultant in customer experience and success at Microsoft, and Mallory Steele, CEO of Productive Consulting and founder of Black & L and D, who previously worked with Shonda as a business program manager at Microsoft. The business goal of strategic communication for customer success was to address pressing issues and improve overall customer support efficiency. Without a solution, the company witnessed a rise in key performance indicators for new engineers, including customer pain time, first call resolution, and time to close, accompanied by a decline in overall customer satisfaction. By identifying and implementing a solution, Mallory and Shonda aim to enhance customer communication, reduce call durations, rebuild trust, and significantly improve the first call resolution rate. The modality for this project is a self-paced 30 to 35-minute e-learning 7-part interactive video-based micro-training. The target audience was support engineers who were 1 to 24 months in their role. To develop this project, Mallory and Shonda used Articulate Storyline, Well Said Labs, That's Me, and Canva. Shonda and Mallory worked on and completed this project without any vendor or development support while working their full-time jobs. Their journey started in 2021 with the first iteration of the game story, game mechanics, and motivators. June of 2022, they began storyboarding and launched the playtest and pilot the following November. While the playtest feedback from their colleagues were less than desired, with concerns around the need or acceptance of gamification for customer support. The pilot survey results from the target audience of support engineers were a welcome surprise for Shonda and Mallory. Next, you'll watch their trailer to give you a glimpse into the project.
Welcome to the world of strategic communication for customer success. As businesses continue to expand and engage with customers across various platforms, effective communication has become more critical than ever. That's why we're excited to introduce this innovative, game-based training experience designed to help you master the art of communication in a multi-channel technical environment. This course will explore 5 key strategies for managing customer interactions, from setting expectations to diffusing challenging situations. With our expert guidance and immersive gameplay, you'll gain the skills and confidence you need to succeed in any customer-facing role. Get ready to level up your communication game and take your career to the next level.
Journey to Sovereign's. In a universe of endless possibilities, one crew faces their greatest challenge yet. Captain Ingenia and the crew of the US Kubernetes had been exploring the outer reaches of the universe for months, searching for new planets and civilizations. But when their ship suddenly malfunctioned, they found themselves stranded on a distant planet with no way to get home. The planet is home to 2 warring tribes, the Clienty and the Metahorde. The 2 tribes have been locked in a bitter conflict for centuries, and the crew soon found themselves caught in the middle. As they embark on a quest to secure the fuel they need to return home, they soon discover that their journey will be far from easy. The crew is desperate for a solution, and their only hope lies in the hands of the enigmatic Iatus. The crew has to mediate a series of conflicts between the 2 tribes in order to earn the resources they need. They have to navigate dangerous and unpredictable situations, and the stakes are high. The crew faces their greatest challenge yet, but they are determined to succeed. Join the crew on an epic adventure through uncharted territory as they fight to return home.
Stop by Shonda and Mallory's table and scan the QR code to explore a part of the project. They'd love to answer your questions and hear your thoughts.
So that's one of the pluses about the Throwdown, is that we have allotted time at the end that you can walk around and ask questions. And we also have a People's Choice voting card that you'll be receiving, so you can actually vote for your favorite projects. We'll be making sure that you get those. Now, what you saw there, of course, was an immersive high-tech experience. The great thing about the GamiCon Throwdown is it does not have to have technology to be an award-winning program. So we also encourage people who are doing low-tech or no-tech design to enter their projects, because some of the best programs we've seen over the years have been like smoke signals and nails on a board with buttons, right? It's not about how much the deployment and the whiz bang as it is the actual behavioral psychology, which is at the foundation of gamification design. So for our next contestant, Artrell Williams, he worked for a company called Taya Zakuri. It's a tire manufacturing company, and he created a no-tech card game. Taya Zakuri teaches tire manufacturing process and terminology, fostering understanding through description. It imparts Sumitomo Rubber USA's mission, vision, values, and KPI impact on business. The deck serves multi-purpose purposes, reinforcing key concepts for SRUSA staff to grasp the value streams, communicate discrepancies, and cut manufacturing waste costs. So please welcome Artrell Williams.
Hey, everybody. As As Monica mentioned, I'm Artrell Williams, and since we're on live stream and I sent the link to my boss, I have to make sure that you know that the company that I work for is Sumitomo Rubber USA. So the name of the game is Tayazakuri, and the organization is Sumitomo Rubber. And so one of the things that we found is that some of our employees, not just the newer employees, but also existing employees, didn't really understand the flow of materials from start to finish. So many of us have specific roles within the tire manufacturing process that we're responsible for, but then many people don't understand what happens with the materials before they get to us or after those materials leave us. So in order to fill the gap, we've got a game called Tayazakuri, which I had to learn Japanese in order to be able to come up with. We created Tayazakuri for Drew here. So this is the persona that we have in mind. And many of you who've been through these presentations today know how important it is to know who it is that we're designing for. And Drew is that individual that we had in mind as we put together this particular activity. Drew is a manufacturing employee, mid-20s, often has a young family, maybe some kids, maybe a new relationship, but still kind of getting started out. And this is geared more towards our new hires. So I rolled this out to our new hired employees as we play it during orientation, in hopes that as it catches on with them, some of the older employees would also start to take some interest. So when we look at those motivators for this persona, the order, social contact, status, and vengeance, there's certain mechanics that we built into the game. Our business purpose, though, is really all about, as Monica mentioned, addressing some of the challenges that we have as it relates to waste and quality. There are quite a few other KPIs that I was able to work into the process. And so as the game started to evolve, I also noticed opportunities to drive the messaging on our company's mission and values, safety, and attendance. The objectives, though, the learning objectives for this activity are about helping people understand the processes, understanding where they fall in the value stream, introducing them to those mission and values, and then educating them on the impacts that our specific KPIs have on our success as an organization. I've got cards that represent the different processes involved in manufacturing tires. And we broke it into 8 different steps. So each card has information that describes what happens during that step in the process. Our mission and values cards also introduce us to some of the key leaders in our organization. There are models for these particular cards. And we are a union shop, and we knew that it was also important to ensure that we had representation from union leadership there. So in addition to our company CEO, VP of Manufacturing, and VP of HR, we also have our union president represented in our mission and values here. We talk about processes a lot in our world, and things happen that are out of process. So the 8 cards that I showed in the beginning are about the processes, but then there's some things that happen out of the process that we want to make sure the employees are aware of. So here, out of process safety, quality, attendance, and even market-related conditions are represented in the game. And when you come to the table in the back of the room, you'll get to see how the game is played with all of the different contents of the game box, as well as some of the mechanics that are involved in making this whole thing learning, making it interesting, educational, and fun. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the back.
Now, I mentioned that the contestants have all learned the way to the process, the proven process for bringing gamification, game-based learning into their adult learning programs. And I know a lot of these people because they've gone through our courses. But just so you know, I have absolutely nothing to do with the scoring or even who moves to be a finalist. That I just receive the applications and forward them to our esteemed judges who are here in the room with us. When they're not in the room with us, they're locked away for the next 24 hours debating over who will actually be awarded. So we have Jean Maripodi, who is our lead judge. Jean designed our rubric that we use and the application, and we use this inside of Sententia also for our courses, how we evaluate courses. So she is just a mainstay in the L&D industry, and we trust her completely with our judging process. We also have Keith Lillico from Merck, and Tracy O'Connor, who is the smartest person on the planet that I know, and just an amazing instructional designer. And then live streaming is Javier Velasquez. So, okay, Javier Velasquez is also one of the smartest people on the planet I know. Javier is so smart about gamification design, and for 2 years now, he hasn't been able to be with us because of visa issues, being able to get back into the States after COVID. So he graciously does it via live stream, and so they have him on Zoom, and for the contestants, Bernardo Latafe will be bringing Javier around to talk with you one-on-one, so you'll still get to visit with him. So those are our judges. So I want to introduce the third program now. Let me pull this up. This is Jordan Dyson, and Jordan has a program called Walk With Me, an empathy skill building game. Walk With Me merges AI-driven dialogue gaming and live training for developing core skills. CORE stands for Competence in Organizational and Relational Effectiveness. OpenAI's ChatGPT powers dynamic, personalized scenarios for empathy, coaching, leadership, etc. Please welcome Jordan Dyson. Jordan, is your mic on? Where is your microphone?
Give her the handheld.
Can you use this? Turn this on. Thank you.
Are we working now? All right. Great. Earlier this year, I was recruited from my firm's strategic initiatives team to help design an associate development program for about 650 associates at our wealth management firm. And going into this project, I knew that there would be 3 things that I needed to achieve. First, and maybe most obviously, we needed to have an onboarding program. We needed to have role-based training. We also needed to make sure that we were helping to teach our folks industry-specific knowledge and working toward that technical skill building. And lastly, as our leadership called it, they wanted to work on the core skills and the social skills, or as some academics would call it, competence in organizational and relational effectiveness, and that's what I prefer to call it too. But as you all know, that last category of development is really, really tough to train for in any kind of meaningful way. Empathy and good communication and strategic thinking, you can't teach that through a PowerPoint. It just doesn't help to change hearts and to change minds. And so what we know is that experience, that can help to change hearts and minds. So what I would like to do is invite you to come on a walk with me. And on this walk, we're gonna do just 3 things. We're gonna meet a new friend, we're gonna have a conversation, and we're gonna get a little bit of feedback. Sound good? All right, well, I would like to introduce you to Erin. And in this scenario, Erin is a client service teammate who is wrestling with a few interpersonal challenges on her team. And it's going to be our job to provide Erin with empathetic support and encouragement to help her as she navigates these team challenges. So the experience is built on ChatGPT, which is OpenAI's large language model, as well as a proprietary empathy algorithm. Excuse me. And the goal here is to be able to teach people based on the best research on the research and best practices around empathy, how to engage with each other in an empathetic way. And so the combination of AI and the empathy algorithm gives players a fully customized learning experience, which then allows them to try different empathizing skills and strategies that work best for them. So as you can see here in the video, if players respond to Erin using those key empathy skills, then Erin's day gets a little bit brighter. And if they miss the mark somehow, the day gets a little bit darker. So after a few minutes of conversation, there we go. After a few minutes of conversation, the game is going to end and the players receive a report. And in that report, that's where they will see how well they use those key empathy behaviors, both from a high level and also in the form of a transcript. And if you want to see an example of one of these reports, we will have one at the back table. Sorry, here we go. Okay. So after piloting the Walk With Me framework, we saw measurable improvement in all 6 areas of empathetic relating. And from our pre and post surveys, participants also reported a significant mindset shift. So folks actually came away believing that they could continue to grow in empathy and communication skills, which for us indicated a facilitation of a shift of mindset, shifting from that more fixed to a growth mindset. We also saw a variety of comments that frankly warmed our hearts. And you might not think that they're particularly heartwarming, but I would like to explain a little bit why. Though it can feel really good to get positive feedback from our players, we were actually encouraged to get a little bit more complicated feedback from them, because we know that the effectiveness of this experience lies in desirable difficulty. In designing and optimizing for desirable difficulty or even failure, it's really required for this behavior and mindset shift that we're targeting. And our world is growing in complexity. And so it's really important that we develop and prepare our teammates for these volatile and uncertain, complex and ambiguous times. So at Understories, our mission is to harness that power of narrative, experience, and data to facilitate the behavior and mindset shifts that drive personal and organizational transformation. And by immersing our people in compelling stories, we not only provide a more engaging learning experience, but also help them to build the competencies that they need to navigate our increasingly complex world. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Walk With Me, the framework, or any of our other experiences, I would love to meet you at the table in the back. And we would love to help tell your story. Thank you.
As we come out of the pandemic, hopefully for good, we are now seeing, of course, that learning is taking all kinds of different directions, right? So we have going back to face-to-face, we of course have asynchronous e-learning, but we also still have virtually led courses in a virtually instructor-led format. And that is one of the wonderful things that we've seen with our GamiCon Throwdown participants, is that some of them are bringing fantastic gamification to that kind of built environment. So our next contestant is Larissa Nadolny. She has an application called Town Hall, gamifying large Zoom meetings. Town Hall is a Zoom app that measures and boosts virtual meeting engagement through gamification. The app measures participants' engagement through 25 plus behavioral measures based on 15 years of gamification research that's been done by Dr. Nadolny. Please welcome with me, Larissa Nadolny.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for listening to this pitch today. So I am co-founder of Town Hall, and as it was mentioned, Town Hall is a Zoom app. And this Zoom app measures engagement. And it's based on my years of research, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you today. But what you get out of it is the participants have a fun and engaging experience, and the host gets all the data they need to make data-driven decisions about courses, events, and trainings. Before I go into the app too much, I do want to talk a little bit about the foundations of Town Hall. So as we've been talking about all day, how important it is to plan, have correct learning objectives, all of that preparation work is really important. And same thing here with the science behind engagement. So as you can see, designing for engagement is a really important first step of any learning environment. And then after that, it's really important to measure that engagement. And that's what Town Hall focuses on. If you have this really solid foundation, what that will lead to is higher motivation for a learning experience, and then ultimately satisfaction for a course. For my particular research, I've been doing research for a long time, but some of my recent studies, which you can see here, have had some really serious impacts for engagement, for gamification, for real world impact. So if we look here, you can see things from ed tech courses to professional development. And some of the results would be things like 30% increase in course attendance, 82% participants that made real world changes, 70% increase in course clicks, 13% increase in a final grade, and since we're talking about town hall today, an average of 31% increase in engagement after giving an activity within town hall. So how do we come up with the problem that we were solving with town hall? Well, it was Zoom engagement. I mean, we were all there, and some of us are still there in all of our Zoom meetings or classes that we have to give. And it can be a real challenge for someone giving a presentation when all the cameras and mics are off. And for participants, it's hard because you don't feel connected to anyone in the room. So we wanted to solve that problem. And the way we did that is by doing research. We did user research, we created personas, and what we found is that we could create a gamified system that met the needs of both the participant and the host in different ways. And I'm going to show you how we did that. For the participant, we designed for engagement. That was our focus. And the way that we do that is we give everyone an engagement score. And the score is updating all the time. Based on anything they do in Zoom or in the app, that helps to calculate their score. Their score also gives them points. The things they do give them points. Those turn into coins that can be spent in the app. There's also immediate feedback. So things like notifications and boosts. Emojis, where you can get kind of this virtual sense of the room that's happening around you. And of course, those with a little bit of a competitive streak, we've got the leaderboard too. If you make that, you see that as well. Now, this is different than what the host sees. So a meeting host is all about the data. So measuring engagement. So for this, they will see a live running chart of engagement in the room. So when engagement's dropping, they know they have to do some kind of intervention to bring everyone back together. And we have some built-in ones as well. We have polls, quizzes, links, and more coming. As you're giving these different activities, you can see immediate results. And then when you're done with the meeting, you have a nice built-in immediate e-report, which gives you some instant data. But then you'll see here in a minute, there's a really detailed report that you can download, you can analyze, and you can use that to make longer-term decisions. Okay, so how about an example? So what you see here on the left side of this screen is an example of an e-report. And I know it's tiny because it's so long. So every poll you give, every quiz you give, you get all the data from it. And at the bottom, things like attendance, engagement on task, all of those things are there as well. But what you can see is I pulled out some data. So this is actually a webinar I gave on LinkedIn about gamification earlier in the summer. And you can see here that about 50% of my audience was a medium or strong engagement score as an average throughout the time. That's pretty good, but it's a place that could be improved. 88% completed activities. But what's interesting here is with each activity you get a boost score. So you see how much giving that activity boosted engagement after. So you'll notice that my top boost was this particular question here, which was, what is the biggest reason why education lags in the use of gamification? So that was one that got everyone talking, everyone interested and engaging again back to me because I had lost engagement at that time. So this kind of system gives you a chance to monitor data, to listen to your audience even if you can't see them, and to have them feel like they're being rewarded for the actions that they're doing. So what's next for Town Hall? We have fully developed our point system, but we're working on a coin system. The Zoom chat is separate. We're integrating chat, things like Easter eggs, also host features like making sure that we integrate with breakout rooms, which is a technical complexity, co-hosting, and an AI dashboard for AI-generated questions. So my time's almost up. I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. And if you come to my table in the back, we'll do a little bit of a live demo so you can see it in action. Feel free to do it yourself. You can open up Zoom apps and just install Town Hall. It's free for participants, and there's a 2-week free trial for hosts. So give it a try. Thank you.
When I first started doing gamification back in 2009, it was 3 years before I knew that gamification was a genre. I just saw my kids playing video games for hours, couldn't get them to study for a Spanish test for 20 minutes, but hours and hours on video games. And I was like, what is this? How is this working? What if I pulled some of this into the programs that I'm running? So since that time, of course, we've codified at Sententia what it takes to bring solid gamification that is effective into adult learning programs. And as you'll notice in these presentations, they're following a lot of that format. It starts with the business objectives. What's the problem we're trying to solve? They develop personas. Who are we designing for? They incorporate, to some degree, a narrative. You can see in some of them that it's very narrative heavy. Others, it's just a kind of a common string that goes through it. It's a learning program, so there's some kind of learning outcomes. We look at what game mechanics will work with our personas, and then we look at aesthetics. And aesthetics can go in so many great directions now that we're just limited by our creativity. So I want to bring up Sean Kay, who came to us from Singapore. So Sean, thank you. I think you've traveled, well, maybe not. We'll have to see who traveled the furthest. All right, Sean Kay, his program is called Gamified Digital, new hire onboarding program with the Singapore Tourism Board. Singapore Tourism Board sought an experiential new hire onboarding program and engaged gamification via Right Impact. They developed a synchronous digital program gamification mobile app. Please welcome all the way from Singapore, Sean Kay. Thank you so much.
Hi there, everyone. Good to be here. Took me 36 hours to get here. Long flight, long story, but I'm here, yay. Okay, I represent two entities. One is Right Impact. Right Impact is a corporate training and consultancy firm in Singapore, and Gamification is a digital gamification service provider. Now, back in 2019, Singapore Tourism Board, which is a government agency, and their mandate is to promote Singapore. Tell everyone that, hey, Singapore is a fun place to be, come and visit us. So they came to us and said that we have a problem, and we are on a hiring process, and we've been doing onboarding program, and the way we've been running our onboarding program is the usual talks and presentation and tours, and it wasn't working well with the new hires. You know, they're young, they are digital savvy, you know, they are not enjoying it. Can you do something for us? Make it fun, at the same time, make sure that they are able to understand what STB stands for, what are the mission, what are their values, and get them to understand the products and services the Singapore Tourism Board has. Can you do it? And we said, sure. And we created a solution using our product called Ripple by Right Impact. It is an app that is available on the Android platform, iOS, and also as a web browser. So no issues, whichever device you're using. And we created like an adventure race, like an amazing race, where they get into small teams, and they are supposed to race against each other to earn points. And how they earn points, they do different challenges, things like MCQs, open-ended. They'll take photos and videos of them doing those challenges, and they submit via the app. And we also, to make it more engaging, certain levels will be locked. So they have to complete something before they can proceed. And they are required to collaborate, because every time they do a particular challenge, to answer a question, the points will be allocated to them for every individual. And these points will be added on to your team score. So everyone has to contribute. These are backend of the game elements. Okay, we had a live leaderboard. So at any point in time, they're able to check who is leading, which team is leading, and the scores get accumulated instantly. And there's also a geolocation feature. That means they're able to see where they are in relation to where all the different checkpoints are, and they can plan accordingly. And they had also automated varying point system. That means based on how challenging it is, more points will be awarded. And we even had bonus points based on the first few people to complete it, extra points to be given. Now, all this was going well and dandy, and then COVID hit. And we were to pause the program. Sometime later, STB came to us and said, hey, guess what? We want to continue the program. We want the learning objectives to stay. We want the deliverables to stay. But everyone's going to be at home in front of the computer. Can you do it? We were like, wait, this program is about going around, exploring Singapore and understanding and how it's going to be. Yeah, we can do it. And we adapted. So what we did was, if we can't bring the horse to the water, you bring the water to the horse. So we got 360 environment using Google Maps. We took the 360 environment using URL and iframe. We embedded into the system so they can actually go around exploring, clicking on objects, and getting clues and moving. And this was actually a one-day program. We even used the same platform to create a team CSI, a crime scene solving activity. And this was the feedback from the organizer and how well it has been received, and also from the participants themselves, how they learned a lot about the organization itself, and also how they have understood or know more about Singapore just by going through this enriching and engaging activity. So I brought my iPad and some phones, so later on, if you're free, just come by. You can try out all the different games that we have created. So just this is a sample. I'll show more of it later when you come over there. That's all for me. Thank you, everyone.
All right, next up we have Pradeep, UN. Pradeep has a program called Fostering Cohesive and Motivated Teams with Stories. The Stories game came from the Stories and Wisdom Company, transformed team dynamics in a federal government office. Using immersive storytelling, it fostered empathy, bonding, and role clarity. Post-experience, it achieved a 9 out of 10 rating, met 85% of their learning goals, and hit their business objectives by 91.7%. So please welcome with me, Pradeep UN.
Hello, everyone. So we're done with 5. So I have a great set of people to follow up, and then there's people following up as well. So I'm Pradeep. I represent the Stories and Wisdom Company. I'm the founder. I live in Seattle, so I love the sun here. The agenda for today, we're going to go through 3 things. And I'm going to talk about what we did for planning, then what we did for execution, and then the results. Yeah. So for planning, first thing we did was interview our customers and then ask them, what are we solving for? The organizational mission was to advance holistic, data-driven suicide prevention at their workplace. That's their job. That's what we're trying to do. I know this is a gamification conference, and I wanted to take that. That objective can be done in multiple means. The organizational team is with medical and non-medical professionals. 70% of the leadership were women, 1/3 of them. So it was a pretty diverse group, the way America defines diversity in that group. Here were the objectives as shown as OKRs, and there were 3. Objective 1, enhance empathy and team bonding. Number 2, strengthen roles and responsibilities. Number 3, identify organizational problem areas. Pick any company, any other industry, anywhere else. This is close to problems that you'll find anywhere else. And that's the relation I want you to take away from this. Now, the key results in the high 70s, but you already know the results. We were in the high 90s, so we met the results. So let's not bury the lead here. We did have personas, but we've had 3 personas. First one is Dr. Allison Thompson. She's clinical psychologist. Second one, Captain David Johnson. That's more from an operations perspective. And then Dr. Michelle Williams, more from a policy perspective. And this is public sector account. So these are 3 different personas, and their intrinsic and extrinsic motivations tend to be different, but they did have a lot of shared motivational elements. And it's very important for us to understand this, because my collective public sector experience was a grand total of 0. So this helped me figure out what do they want, who are these people that we are solving for. Furthermore, we started putting down learning strategies and did a card sort that the customer did. So we didn't do the card sort, we actually had the customers do. And I want you to point her towards progressive challenges, gamification and awards, low priority, for the customer. High priority, real world application. I want to collaborate and learn from others. Feedback. That was important to them. So clarifying the learning strategies from the voice of the customer, given their personalities, was pretty important. So that came us to like, what are the game execution design constraints we would do? So no tech, no cloud. We needed something that got down to 2-minute setup. Narrative games, because they would use stereotype situations, and for the sensitive scenario we were solving for, that was out. Dice-based games, because now you're bringing in chance, out. And it's very important to have constraints that you're saying are out, because then you can see what the sandbox is we are designing for. So we made it something that was simple. It's card games with a prompt card, story card, but very importantly, our innovation was the focus question. Why is this true for you? So when you have a prompt and a story, you combine it and you have to answer the question, why is this true for you? So the game mechanics that this is executed is listed here. But also we added another element, which is around allyship reactions. When somebody tells a story, here's allyship reactions that you're going to respond with. And that they would start giving, and how it comes together, I'll show you at the back later. A tertiary game element, to add an element of fun, because you're bringing in these discussions, is more like a booster competition, challenge, and chance, but it starts to engage people and the goal you're trying to do is repeatability. You're trying to change habits. You have to have people engage again and again. To do that, they need some level of entertainment. Why? Because people are people, regardless of the gravity of the situation they're working with. So the results, that's the OKRs on top, and we hit pretty high numbers and we were there. But more importantly, the cross-group referrals went up. They want to do an organization-wide rollout, and they're engaging with us on a digital scaling plan. So that's on the results. And on my last slide, I'll actually urge you, we went through planning, execution, and results, and for continuous integration with cross-group referrals and a planned organization work rollouts. That's what you did, stories, and I urge you to cast your vote for stories. Continue having a discussion later with me at the back. Even more with drinks in the evening, the discussion gets much better. So thank you.
I was thinking about when we started doing gamification design, when I first started in 2012 and knew that it was a genre, I started doing lots of different things. There's 3 ways you can do gamification. You can do what's called consumer facing, where you're drawing people into your brand with gamification. You can do social facing, which I was doing a lot of, developing type 2 diabetes apps and having people use less electricity. But where I knew my heart was what's called internal facing. So that's corporate or employee engagement. And then I don't think the right word is non sequitur, but just unexpected over here was that we started talking to a lot of higher education professionals who were developing courses for students in higher ed. And we thought about it and we thought, well, this works also. We have to change it slightly in the business objectives, but not enough that we have to change the format. So I want you to welcome our next presenter. Her name is Susan Skinner. And she developed a course, Susan Skinner, JD MBA, thank you very much. Okay, she developed a course called Don't Crash the Economy. Don't Crash the Economy is an online interactive game for business students at Western Governors University. Tailored to non-economics majors in an economics course, students collaboratively make macroeconomic policy decisions. The goal is to earn the Master of Macroeconomic Policy badge or risk crashing the economy. Please welcome Susan Skinner.
Econ! Why do I have to take econ? It's so hard and it's boring. And I'm a marketing major. How am I ever going to use macroeconomics in my life? What does that have to do with me? There's a game for that, for all of that. Welcome to Don't Crash the Economy. As Monica said, I'm Susan Skinner, and I'm a member of the Senior Instructional Faculty at Western Governors University. And I worked with a fabulous group of fellow instructors, go Night Owls, and we decided to create a game for a course called Principles of Economics. It is an undergraduate course. And as Monica mentioned, these are business students, but they are not economics majors. And one thing that's really fabulous about our university and our college is that more than 60% of our students come from underserved populations. Maybe they are lower income, they are rural, first generation college students, or maybe a combination of those things. And we also pride ourselves on opening access to a wide variety of people who haven't had it before. And so we are getting more and more students who have never had a really positive academic experience in the past. So we thought about all of this and what can we do to grab these students? They dread economics courses. They don't want to have to take econ. They also dread the objective assessment that they have to take. It's the final exam that they have to take at the end of the course. And they particularly don't like scenario questions where they have to apply their knowledge. So they struggle with content and with application. And in addition to that, we are an all online university. And so they're remote. And sometimes they feel isolated and alone. So we took that into consideration. And I'm sorry, I'm hitting the wrong button. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. You would not know that necessarily. All right, so we created some goals, and you don't need to read all of these now because I have them as well as the results from the goals at the table. But what we did was we decided to debut the game for a 2-week period, offer it at least once every weekday for 2 weeks. And we created a pre-test and a post-test. And so we had goals based on improvement on the questions, as well as their feelings about the applicability of econ to their lives. All right, so Maya wakes up one morning thinking she's just going to go get some coffee, and a messenger shows up at the door and tells her, there is the ruler of a far-off land named Marylton, whose economy is eerily similar to that of the United States. And he has taken ill and has to step down. She's got to go over there and rule the country. She needs a chief economic advisor. So she hires the student. Now, the good thing is the student does not have to act alone. Monica mentioned that our students gather together in breakout sessions to collaborate on macroeconomic policy and make decisions together in competition with other teams. But the student, this chief economic advisor, also has a team of advisors who brief the student on the economic conditions. And then the student makes a policy decision, or the group of students. They learn the consequences of their decision. And this is played out in the form of video. And then they have some written feedback as well. So we used Articulate Storyline for a game at the heart of which is branching scenarios, as well as other mechanics geared toward our learner personas. And we used the video software Beyond so that we could really give students an immersive experience in this macroeconomic policy. But what really excited us was not only did we meet or exceed all of our stated goals, but we also we went wildly beyond our expectations in terms of qualitative feedback. Students want more scenarios. These are busy students with full-time jobs and families, and it's hard for them to go to live events. They want more time in the live events for more scenarios. They want to go back and answer questions differently, even if they answer them wrong, so that they can learn the consequences of those decisions. So we met or exceeded all of our quantitative goals. We left our students wanting more. We left our colleagues wanting to get in on the action. So for us, that's a win. Now on to the next game. Thank you.
I was just talking with John Chen of Engaging Virtual Meetings. He's one of our sponsors. And if you would just join me in thanking him for making this all possible with his multi-camera live streaming enablement. John just told me we have about 25 people watching from places like Charleston, India, Argentina, Atlanta, Tucson. So we're glad you're here with us. We're disappointed you couldn't be here with us live, but we're glad that you're watching the Throwdown. So I want to introduce Alvaro Garcia Barba. He worked on a game called Game On, a gamified gamification session. Game On is a transformative initiative with 3 objectives aimed at leveraging gamification for the World Bank Group's knowledge management and learning community. Dispelling that gamification is child's play perception and highlighting its power to enhance engagement, foster innovation, and improve learning outcomes. Please welcome Alvaro Garcia Barba.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me well? How are you doing today? That's the spirit. So as you can tell today, I'm the last one, but I'm bringing dessert for you guys. I didn't know I was going to be the last one, but here we go with some special vignettes that I have cooked for you. So Game On, as Monica said, is a gamification game experience for people in the World Bank to understand the benefits of gamification. Here you have the main ingredients for today. A little bit of context about the World Bank. We are part of the UN. We are an international financial institution, which means that we are providing development assistance to countries all over the world. This equals very serious organization. So gamification is perceived as mere child's play. Please raise your hand if your organization, you feel the same. That gamification is something just for kids, just for children. I see some hands over there. Thank you very much. So essentially what I tried to convey here is to raise awareness of gamification's benefits, raise the profile of gamification for senior leaders, and finally ignite a revolutionary understanding of what gamification is and how to apply it for our business. We conducted a comprehensive stakeholder and gamer analysis. Here you have the 2 personas that we identified, our knowledge management and learning community, defined by some of these characteristics: willing to learn, willing to explore. People are bored about like self-paced learning, BLT, and all these things. They want something new, something exciting, as well as senior leadership, the main key character, the decision maker that needs to be seduced by the power of gamification to make something out of all this gamified world. So these are some of the motivational elements, intrinsic and extrinsic, that we defined based on that stakeholder analysis. And we decided to go for the low tech, low budget, because that's another thing that I feel everybody suffers from. We don't have money, period. So we wanted to make something out of Office 365, something easy and applicable and available for everybody else. These are some of the game mechanics that we selected: point-based system, feedback, collaboration, leaderboards. In a way, we're trying to provide with many of different game mechanics for people to learn how to use gamification for their own learning experiences. So we had 2 quests. The first one was a wizard quest. People have to unearth some information out of our intranet, learn about gamification to get the code for a live event that was happening next, our Space Invaders cooperative game. So we had breakout rooms. People were playing within their groups and against each other to finalize the challenge. I will tell you more about the storytelling in a second, but the learning strategy was clear. We wanted them to acknowledge, to learn, some new things about gamification, but most importantly, how to apply it to their learning experiences that they were trying to create for their own learners. So once again, the storytelling, 2 different themes. We tried to make it very user agnostic, right? Because we were trying to teach them that gamification and storytelling, it's for everybody. If you're in a water practice doing water projects, you can use water metaphors and water stories. If you're doing some green buildings, you can do the same with green buildings. Just, you have to be creative. So we had all these challenges. We were making feel people like you're part of a space crew. You're part of you're the captain of the space crew, and you have to escape from the aliens. They're coming. Run fast. Complete the MS forms in order for you to jump into hyperspace. So that was the end of the challenge. So we were having these smart KPIs. We were measuring the increased knowledge, and we were following Kirkpatrick as well here, the integration of gamification elements once they were deciding and designing their own learning experiences, and an increase of the number of requests that we received as the advisory gamification unit within the bank. We got some pretty nice results. We had some tests at the end of the learning experience, and people were, scoring around 90%. They were understanding, but most importantly, they were applying, or they were willing to apply all the gamification mechanics that they have learned into their own learning experiences. So this was massive. We got a lot of different, requests coming from the DI office, the data privacy office, saying, hey, we want to use gamification too. We learned from you that we can use MS Form. How can we collaborate and how we can partner in doing this? So this was amazing. Also, the fact that we launched our first open-wide gamification experience for the entire world, essentially, and that we got better, support from our senior leadership. Again, we measured some feedback around the people who participated. They were all very interested, and it was like, oh, this is something that it was not complicated. It was not rocket science, right? I can apply it. I have PowerPoint. I have MS Forms. Let me try it, which was one of the key results, or one of the key things that we wanted to do as part of the business objectives and as part of the KPIs. So at the end of the day, we ignited this revolution, meaning that many people were interested. They were trying to apply the gamification principles, but we also have some valuable lessons learned. Change management is critical. You have to understand what you're doing, roll it out, put communication, and have a long-term strategy. As you may perceive, this is not a one-off. We've been trying to run additional sessions so people can acquire knowledge and learning. And lastly, engaging better with the senior leadership, because at the end of the day, they are the decision makers and the people who have the monies. So I have a little Easter egg for everybody. You can scan that code and play one of the games that I have created for this. Again, this is like the cooking type of class. Sorry, I didn't bring sangria today for those who asked before, but we can have some virtual vignettes all together. Please feel free to play. I have the QR code as well on my stand if you want to check it out. It's the same technology, same principle, same storytelling that we use, but applying another thing. So you can see how easy it is and how easy it was to provide for everybody. Bon appetit.
All right, I want to thank those of you who are watching us via live stream. We appreciate so much you being here. Make sure that you engage with us and let us know who your favorites were, because now the people who are here are going to get to cast their votes. So I'm going to explain that process to everyone in the room. We do have tables set up around the back there. You'll see all the contestants, and everyone should have a Throwdown People's Choice vote card. So it's relatively self-explanatory. Your projects are listed on the top half, and then it says, please write in your selection for each category on the bottom half. So feel free to ask questions of the contestants. They are welcoming your questions. Any kind of question you have, they're ready for it. Ask them, how they did it, what was their catalyst, whatever it is that you're trying to find answers for, they want to help you to do that. So spend some time with them. Let's break down what we're doing. Right now, it's right about 2 o'clock, so we have 1 hour so you can mingle with the Throwdown participants and talk with them and cast your votes. Leah Karuba, where are they giving their vote cards to, Frank? Where do those go? Leah Karuba, in the back, does everybody see Leah waving her hands? The short girl in the blue? Sorry. Leah Karuba, my chief of staff. Let me talk respectfully. Thank you, Leah. Yes, all right. Very good, Leah. Can't hear you. Sorry, can't hear you. All right. Let's talk about where you are on puzzles. Some of the crews are knocking it out of the park. Some of the crews, I was told, are losers. Not my words. All right. The teams that are who knew the bar name, the crews who knew the bar name were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The crews who got the jumble were 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. If I didn't say your number, you know what category you're in. Well, that's so harsh, isn't it? You're just not there yet. Just not there yet. Have you ever seen Simon Sinek's talk on that? It's fantastic. Let's not measure how fast we get there. Let's measure that we get there, right? Because it's not a race. We're not trying to get there fastest. We're just trying to get there. All right. I do want to recognize one more thing before we let you go around to talk to the Throwdown participants. In the back of the room, in that lovely Mardi Gras shawl, is Sherry Prindle. Some of you know Sherry Prindle because she is a dynamo, and she has agreed to and has designed a phenomenal pop-up escape room for us tonight at NOLA Brewing. So let me give you a little history. 2018, when we did our first GamiCon with Training Magazine, that was our very first event. The room was too small. There was no air conditioning. The food was late and it was cold, and the beer was kind of good. But we did have a pop-up escape room with our friend Mikkel Van Unen from Norway, who came over and designed that for us. Netherlands, yes. And as a result of that, some people grasped, I can do this. They got that idea and they went back and immediately started designing pop-up escape rooms. The great completion of that story for some people was when we hit pandemic, they knew they had to go online with it. And then they translated their pop-up live escape rooms to an online version. So what we want you to catch tonight is that, I can do this, because Sherry's going to show us exactly how to design what we call a pop-up escape room. That means it can happen anywhere. You just have to do a little bit of planning to make it happen. Our sponsors will also be there and will be playing an integral part of our game. So do I have some of my sponsors in here? John Chen with Engaging Virtual Meetings. It's one of our sponsors. Of course, John's pretty close to at the top of the list, of course, is Training Magazine, because none of this would happen for us without Training Magazine. We also have Bernardo Latafe with Blue Rabbit, Jimbo Clark with Innograte and Thinking In and Out of the Box. We have Mobile BI, Chuck Sigmund's company, Bundle AR, who has created our amazing engagement, and then also Destries Intellizy, that he was with us last night. So all of those are sponsors. Of course, we will be there. Sentential will be there as sponsors, and also our Game Garage will be there as a sponsor. So the sponsors have a big role to play tonight, and they're looking forward to playing with you in it. So we'll be at NOLA Brewing starting at 7. We do have beer and pizza and salad. So we have all different kinds of pizza. We have enough pizza that you can eat a light dinner and still have enough food unless you don't want to eat pizza. So we have a 3-hour break in between, 2.5-hour break. So you can get some healthy food if you didn't want to eat pizza for dinner. Okay, is that everything I need to tell? All right, so grab your voter card, go back and talk with the contestants, give them some love. They just went through a lot. I saw some contestants before the throwdown looking like they were going to lose it at any second. I was gathering trash cans for them in the back of the room. So give them some love, ask them some questions. They're there to answer it for you. You've got until we do another hour, 3 o'clock. You're back with your crews for 15 minutes, 15-minute break. So our next session is 3:30. Richard Voss is in here and Valerie Olenek is in the parish room. 2 sessions, it's going to be too hard to decide between the two of them, which one you can go to. So you'll have to make that choice. We'll see you back here at 3:30. Make sure you talk to the contestants. Oh. I can do it again.
Okay, checking in. This is John Chen here on the live stream. We hope all of you have enjoyed the live stream. I just want to take a quick note here too. For all of you here on the live stream, do me a favor. I'm going to put a chat in here too. If you can hit this code, let me see. Click HTTP talk.ac/CEO John Chen. And then the code EVM. We just want to know how great this live stream was for all of you here in the amazing virtual land. Monica really got a chance to see all of you. Argentina, Tucson, we got lots of shots out. So beautiful things going on. Anyways, so take a moment here, and if you can do this, what we want to do is that we are so passionate about bringing this out. I hope that you got something valuable out of this live stream. Well, the best way you can pay me back is take less than 2 minutes, fill out a very, very quick survey, click the link or put up your phone. You can also open your camera, scan the QR code, put the code in EVM, again, EVM, VM. When you complete the survey, you get a free ticket to my engaging conference, October 23rd through 25th, 3 days of the secrets of the most engaging conferences, summits, and masterclasses. I want to know what you liked about this presentation. I want to know how we can make it better for you, because we're on a mission here to get in front of as many people to end boring live streams. I hope that you loved all the camera changes, different ways that we were able to show the material, especially the slides that were very dense. We wanted to make them very big for you. Just take 2 minutes. You can scan the QR code. Let me know when you're done. Just chat done when you're done. And in 2 minutes here, we're going to leave you with one last piece here for virtual. Thank you so much. Still on live stream. Frank's here also on a live stream with me. Frank also assisted quite a bit here at what's happening on side. Frank, what was happening back there? You were with the judges. What do you think the judges are doing now?
Oh, the judges were having a great time. This was very difficult for them. They're still in the back, and they'll probably be working for the next 8 hours straight. So this is very interesting. Very interesting.
Thanks again, Frank. All right, we'll give you an insight here to show you what's happening inside of the room. Thanks again. Hopefully you got that link. Talk.ac/CEO John Chen, code EVM. If anyone finished it, just chat done. We're about 60 seconds to the end of this live stream. Thanks again for all those, especially you international people, for tuning in from everywhere, from near and far. Outstanding. What a great, hopefully you enjoyed. I love all the comments that you put in the chat too. We have taken some of those questions back to Monica. We'll get you answers to that. Look here for comments on this live stream. Is most likely where we're going to answer those questions. All right, we got about 30 seconds to end the live stream. Thank you so much, all. We hope you enjoyed this presentation from GamiCon Live in New Orleans. All right, and live stream ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is John Chen signing off from GamiCon's Throwdown. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Teresa.